What's up, guys? I'm back again with another video, right? And in this video, I wanted to talk about why wealth changes not you, but everyone around you, right? Because I don't think sometimes you could be rich, right? You could have the same mentality as you did when you were poor. You could have the same kind of thinking you have right now, but when you're successful, right? And yet you can argue, and you could believe it, I could believe it, right? That it is not you who changed, but it's actually everyone around you that has changed, right? And it is not because your personality changed over time, not because you had other things, you distanced yourself from your friends, right? Everything else could be the same. But the only change at the end of the day is because you got wealthy, right? You became successful, right? And in this video, right, I wanted to cover the 3 reasons why wealth will change people around you, and the 3 things you have to watch out for when that day comes, because it will come, right? And you're quickly gonna find out the specific friends that aren't with you anymore when you're wealthy, right? Or they're gonna hide it and you're never gonna know until it's too late, right? So this video is gonna be the one that you're probably gonna need when you're at the top. Number one, right? Envy replaces relationships, right? Number one, envy replaces relationships. I mean, the people around you, like your friends, maybe even your family, right? Depending on the circumstances with your family, but it's most likely more often than not, it's going to be your friends, right? Will end up growing bitter around you as soon as you become wealthy or successful, right? As soon as you make it to the top in terms of money, right? And it doesn't have to be about money. It could be status. It could be how good you look, right? It doesn't have to be about wealth, right? Whatever classifies as success to you is what will eventually make your friends grow envious towards you, right? That kind of envy. And basically, once you make it to the top, the people around you that you used to hang around with when you were broke, when you were poor, they're eventually gonna feel envy towards you, right? And it's simply because they're measuring their achievements, right? Your achievements, not their achievements, right? Your achievements compared to their struggles, right? And they feel as if, how come you're successful and how come they're not, right? And there's a lot of complexity that goes into why you became successful and why they didn't become successful. And that's not what this video is here for today, right? But they will eventually measure the struggle compared to your achievements, and how come you've made it and how come they haven't made it, right? And that day is gonna come, is all I'm gonna say, right? And there's complexity behind it. For example, right, maybe your path just yielded more compared to their path. Maybe you just had that a little extra status that made you get to the top quicker. Maybe you started earlier and they started later. Who knows, right? Who knows what kind of specifics and complexity is why your achievements have been made known, and their achievements have not. Why they're still struggling? Who knows, right? But this is one of the ways why envy will grow in your relationships. Why your relationships, when you become successful, will become envious when how your friends are gonna become envious towards you, right? And before you know it, right? Their comparisons are gonna create some kind of distance, right? You're not gonna see them as much. You're not gonna see them as much anymore when you're successful. And all of a sudden, their comparisons are gonna create distance, right? Not just like the natural kind of distance when you become successful, right? I suppose, right, when you're successful, you just become more busy with your life. You just have more things going on for you, right? That kind of successful, right? I suppose when that day happens, right, you're just gonna become more like busy, right? And that distance is naturally gonna show. But I'm talking about like the kind of distance that shows when your friends are like envious because you have what they don't have, right? That's success, right? And they're gonna create distance, right? They're not gonna see you as much. They're not going to like be around as much. And the next thing you know, you guys aren't even friends anymore, right? You guys used to talk all the time. You guys used to be on the phone all the time. Maybe on Instagram sending reels to each other, right? You guys aren't going to see each other anymore, right? And eventually, before you know it, you guys aren't even friends anymore. You guys hardly see each other. You guys, And guys, adding on, let's be real too, right? Adding on to this point, again, hidden agendas start to emerge, right? Like your friends, right, will eventually start to see what they can gain from you, right? And sometimes, right, obviously, right, this point is made towards those kind of people, right, that are like genuinely trying to see what they can gain from you on purpose, right? That's what this point is made towards, right? But like sometimes, right, even the best of friends, right, they're still gonna try to see what they can gain from you, even if it's not on purpose, or even if it's hidden behind the guise of friendship, and probably genuinely really could be, right? But at the end of the day, when you become successful, right, and your friends, the same friends that you've been around since you were, they're still naturally, right, whether it's out of the goodness of their heart or not, they're still naturally gonna see what they can gain from you, right? It's just the natural like cause. It's just a natural cause of things, right? If I'm successful, right, and my friend who is not as successful, he's naturally going to see what he can gain, right? Right. Examples of this could be like I'm outside trying to eat food, and I'm naturally going to buy food for him because he's my friend, right? You know, I'm naturally gonna do those things, right? And he could probably ask, and I'm probably gonna say yeah. Most likely gonna say yeah, because he's been around since I was broke, right? Those kind of things, right? They're naturally gonna see what they can gain from you, even if it's from the goodness of their heart, right? And obviously, there's bad people, right? Bad friends that are gonna see what they can gain from you because they're envious. You know, they want that success for themselves, or they just simply want to see how you did it, right? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you're successful, right? And a friend comes up to you, or in this case, not your friend, but someone comes up to you, right? And they want to ask you how they did it. Like, do you guys really believe, right, that he's doing this because he's praising you, admiring you? You know what I'm saying? That these people are admire you? No, they're doing it to see if they can do it too, right? You know what I'm saying? To see if they can do it too. So just to be like aware. It's like it's never out of like more often than not, right? If they're not the kind of friends that you were with when you were broke, more often than not, it's gonna be like people that are trying to see how they can do it for themselves, right? And it's really up to you if you want to like let them know or not. You know, it's really up to you, right? Because they both have their pros and cons. Is basically what I'm trying to say. Like, there's no good or bad answer to this. And this first point was just to like raise awareness on why envy, right, grows in relationships. Okay, guys, second point, right? And social circles, right, start to shift, right? I'm gonna say that again. Social circles start to shift, right? The first point was about how envious relationships with your friends start to become, right? Your friends being envious towards you, right? Now this point is just more about social circles start to shift, right? It's just more about things to expect, right? When you become a successful guy, right? When you become really successful, social circles start to shift, right? And to dive deep into this point, and it's about how your old friends, right, start to drift away, right? Your old friends that was always around, they start to drift away. And you may not even see it at first, right? Like, and I was kind of talking about this in the first point, but this time I'm talking about it deeper. Like, you may not even see it, right? But all of a sudden, right, your old friends will start to drift away, right? Like, it may not be like immediate, it may not be like complete distance, or like you just start to easily see it, right? Like, you just immediately see like the distance that's being created. No, like, it just naturally happens over time. It may happen like years after you become successful, but all of a sudden, right, that guy isn't your friend anymore, right? You guys were just talking like the moment you became successful, and all of a sudden that guy ain't your friend anymore, right? The drift has happened. You didn't see it at first, and all of a sudden he ain't your friend, right? It's the same thing like on planet Earth, right, where countries are made after countries are split, right? After land is split, right? And then over time, over millions of years, right, it drifts away, right? And before you know it, it's a whole different country, right? It's a whole different continent. You never even expect it, right? It's the same thing here, right? Before you know it, in like 5 years, and it probably doesn't even need to be 5 years. It could be way less than that. Before you know it, that guy isn't your friend anymore, right? Old friends start to drift away once you become successful, right? And it may not be entirely their fault. It's just simply because you're just too busy or just too successful, right? Or it's because they wish they had what you had and they decided to just move on and focus more on themselves, or they just resented you for being successful, right? There's no right or wrong answer to this, but that day will happen. And guys, new friends, right? New friends will most definitely appear, right? Like, let's just like, after you're successful, new friends will most definitely appear. Like, let's not hide it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you become successful, when you become rich, famous, whatever, new friends will most definitely appear after you're successful and famous, right? And this is just a natural thing to happen, right? You can't hate this change. It's just a natural thing. You can't be successful and still try to wish that, oh, I wish I was too friends with this motherfucker from last year, from years ago. That's probably most likely not gonna happen, right? It depends on how tight you guys are like that, right? But like, new friends will most likely and naturally start to appear, right? And most likely they're gonna be on the same success level as you are, right? Let's just say you're a crazy musician, right? And all your old friends have drifted away, right? And all of a sudden your new friends are like other famous musicians that are trying to be your friends or just trying to work with you, right? And like, these quote unquote new friends aren't really like your friends, right? Because look at it like this, right? You wouldn't have been friends with these people if you weren't really all that famous, if you weren't really all that successful in your craft, right? So right out the gate, they aren't really your friends, right? Like that. But even if you want to give a benefit of the doubt that they are your friends, right? If you want to live in La La Land, right, that they are your friends, there's still people, right, that are there's still people that you're gonna be like trying to make music with, right? For example, right, trying to grow your craft with. And once again, right, they're more like opportunists, right, to you, right? They're more like opportunists to you. They're more like people that are just trying to talk to you and try to make music with you. And once again, they aren't really your friends like that. They aren't really your friends. right? And like I said, you can still choose to ignore all this, right? Ignore all this and still see these people as friends. That's up to you. That's not up to me, right? That's up to you if you want to live and be and have this moral streak to yourself, right? And see these people as your friends, even though they're evidently not, right? That's up to you, right? And before you know it, guys, I'm gonna say this again. And before you know it, right, trust becomes difficult. Because if you've taken what I said so far into account and chose to be realistic and not live in illusion land, right? Trust will obviously become difficult, right? Unless you're not with your homeboys, right? Or you're not with your family, right? And you're with new friends that you've made when you became the guy you are now, successful men right now. Trust is naturally going to become more difficult, right? Because these people are like opportunistic. These people are like your new quote unquote friends that can keep up with your kind of life, with your kind of bread and money, right? Trust is naturally going to become more difficult because of that. Like, if the next day, right, you're not successful anymore. The next day you fall out of line, you fall out of the top. People are hating you, whatever the case is going on. All of a sudden, these people are not going to be your friends, or they're going to start distancing towards you, right? Once they feel as if they have nothing to quote unquote gain, right? Once again, there's like complexities behind gaining, right? Gaining the success that you have. Then naturally going to fall out of line, you know. This is just a natural thing. You guys cannot hate the process. You guys cannot hate the game. Right? You guys cannot hate how the game is made. You guys should just simply play the game and just try to make the most out of it. That's just all there is, right? So yeah, when you become a successful guy, trust is also going to become difficult after your social circles have shifted, after your friends have become envious towards you, and now you've made new friends that are not really your new friends. Trust is just naturally going to become more difficult because of all. Finally, guys, last point, third reason, right? It's lonely at the top, right? Like, you guys have heard this phrase so many times that I feel like it's lost its meaning, right? Like, it's lost its meaning. Why people say why people say these words, right? People aren't just saying these words because it's a popular phrase for successful people or people that are trying to become successful. It's because it's true as well, right? I'll tell you why it's true. Success is alienating, right? Success distances people away, right? I've already explained it, but at this point, I'm gonna make sure it sticks, right? For good, right? Success is alienating, right? When you become a successful person, right, people stop checking in on you because they assume you have it all, right? Especially, like, do you think people check in on Drake? Like, obviously before like the rap beef, whatever, right? Do you think people still check in on Drake? Like, Drake has become that level of famous where it's like people don't even need to check in on this nigga because they just assume he's fine. They just assume he has it all. They just assume that he's not a human being anymore. He's just Drake. The same thing with LeBron James. Like, every kind of successful person you can think about, people stop checking in on you once you become a really successful person, right? What's the need? Everybody knows who you are. They assume some other person is checking in on you. They assume you have your family, and even though they're right to assume these things, because they're probably right, regardless of whether it was an assumption or not, it naturally alienates people when you become a successful guy. They don't see you as a regular person on the street to walk past. They see you as Drake. They see you as LeBron James. They see you as Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? They see you as someone greater than life. That's why they have the term celebrity. Adding on, guys, once you're seen as a celebrity, once you're seen as the person who's at the top, once you're seen as the person who's larger than life, you're no longer seen as a person, right? Once you reach that level of fame, success, you're no longer seen as a person anymore. Once you have the term celebrity added to your name every single time you're mentioned, you're no longer seen as a celebrity. You're just seen as a person who has a big ass bank account, a person who's just that famous, who's contributed a lot to society by making music. Maybe you're a great actor. Maybe you're just a famous YouTuber, right? You're no longer seen as, you're no longer seen as a human being, right? You're just seen as a famous person, as this larger than life character, right? And all of a sudden, judgment replaces connection now. There's no longer a connection towards you and your peers, towards you. You wouldn't have much peers when you're a celebrity, right? But there's no longer a connection towards you and the average man, right? And you want to know what's funny? It's like, how can you blame the fact they have no connection, right? You're quite literally, right, far beyond the average man, right? Beyond the average person, right? There's no reason. It's impossible to have that connection anymore, as much as you would like to try to have it. So it's like, it's also just a natural thing to take place, right? There's no reason. It's impossible for a connection to happen once you reach celebrity status, once you reach celebrity term added to your name, right? It's just not possible for a connection to really be a thing anymore, right? So there's no more connection anymore, right? There's just judgment. There's no more connection. There's just judgment from people below you, and even people at your social level, at your social standing, right? Because they want the piece of the pie. You know what I'm saying? They want to see how you made it, and you're just treated as like a person that's mainly just there to entertain, that's mainly just there to, you know, please society. Every movement is watched, etc., etc. You're no longer seen as a person anymore, like a regular person that have flaws and shit. You make one mistake, you're nailed on the cross. you make one mistake, you're burned in the stake. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no forgiveness in mistakes anymore. Finally, right, to finally conclude this video, I'm just here to tell you that at the end of the day, true friends are rare, right? True friends are really rare, and you really make your friends young, right? A lot of people like to tell, oh, you can actually make your friends older. No, you can't, bro. Once you're old, people already have habits on how to think about the world. People already have habits on how they think, on how they act, on who to talk to. These habits are engraved after years of being on this world, after years of understanding the world. They're not to make new friends at an older age, even like ignoring the success factors and everything I've explained about why you can't find friends when you're at the top. It's already, when you're older, right? Like you already have a way to think about the world. You're not just going to change this way to think about the world just to make a new friend. It's just not happening. You only make your friends young. That's how it's always been. That's how it's forever will be. Make your friends young, so when you become older, you have these friends that you know you can count on because they've seen who you really were. They've seen how you grew up, and they have similar habits of thinking just like you do, so that they can be your friends even after you've made it, and you can still be friends even after they've made it too, right? Vice versa, right? This is why, right, true friends are rare, right? Because it's not just a success factor and everything I've explained in this video thus far. It's also because people have ways of thinking, habits of thinking, and making new friends requires people to rethink how they think about the world. And most people don't want to go through that. I wouldn't want to go through that either myself, right? And now I need to see if you're gonna trust me, right? Now I gotta see if I'm gonna trust you, right? If you're gonna betray me, right? These are all just natural things, right? And true friends are rare, and you only make your friends young, right? So that friend that you have right now, you better treat that person better, because you're gonna be wishing you did when you're successful. And obviously, guys, remember to like, follow, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, right? And adding on, make sure to check me out on Instagram and send me a follow there too, right? So without further ado, I'll end this video, and I hope you guys can think a lot about what I said.